What's up, Wargamers? We're going to talk Speed Freaks today, and finally coming up towards the end of October, aka Orktober, we are getting your chance this coming weekend to pre-order the Speed Freaks boxed game, and we're going to take a look at the contents that are there, as well as some of the things that have been teased so far by Games Workshop Warhammer community. And I want to know, is this a game that you're looking to pick up? For two reasons. One, most people picking this up are probably looking to start a Warhammer 40K Ork army, and would be using the Warbikes and the buggies that come with it to help bolster that at a nice value. Or two, are you actually looking forward to playing the game? And we'll try to surmise a little bit as we observe some of the rules previews on what the game may kind of play like. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at the contents, but let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this as far as the game goes. We've expanded the hobby bunker here. We've got this third case over here to the side, and we're filling that up with some of the new armies we've been working on. Starting to work on my... Man, maybe we should go ahead and turn the front camera back on. Starting to work on some of the Ultramarines, if that would focus. We'll get a better camera set up in here. It's tracking my face. So starting to work on the Ultramarines paint scheme. Done a lot of that out of the rattle can. We've got the Imperial Knights pretty much underway. We've got the first 1,000 points built up of the All Armiger list so far. I've got the special character, or the commander, that I'm working on underway. So once I get that kind of built up, I'll show that to you guys. So taking a look here on the Warhammer community website, we've got Speed Freaks, the rules, and this is what is going to come in the game, at least the contents as far as we can see, and we'll get my mug out of the way here. So it looks like that the basic box set is going to come with 6 of the existing Ork Warbike models. So that's a pretty decent value, because if we take a look at what those retail for on the Games Workshop website, we'll see that each of those boxes is $41.25. So you're going to end up with basically about it'll be $82.50, roughly half the box's value just in the Warbikes alone, and that's before you talk about getting 2 of the vehicles, which we assume will have decent and competitive rules in Warhammer 40K. At the very least, they're 2 unique models that are very cool looking. But it seems like, based on what I can tell, that this box set is actually going to come in quite expensive, and that Games Workshop may be looking to retail that for $150 US. I saw it listed in GBP, and it was listed as 90 British pounds. So I believe that equates to roughly $150 US. Same that we've been seeing for Wake the Dead, Tooth and Claw, and a lot of the other boxes that have been coming out as of late. So that seems to be the price that Games Workshop realizes that they're able to peel off the hobby enthusiasts. And of course you get a unique game that may or may not see any type of competitive play, but there's a lot to be said about the way the Games Workshop's been releasing these value boxes with standalone contents. I don't think any of the contents in this box are going to stay unique to the Speed Freaks boxed game. I think they will eventually release these vehicles and the scenery separately, but I haven't seen anywhere for sure where that's been listed. So my take on the game, from what I can tell reading through the rules that have been leaked here, is that it's not going to play like 40K at all, and it's not going to play quite like, I'm trying to think of like X-Wing, that type of game mechanic, but it's more like X-Wing in appearances than it is like 40K. And here's some of the things that give me that type of thought process. When we take a look here at the dice, this is your dashboard, so it's meant to kind of look like, I guess, the dashboard on your vehicle with the dials and whatnot. But these are 3 separate dice pools that you have to allocate dice to, and they have them basically listed as cunning, speed, and shooting. I might have gotten the names wrong, but that's basically what it is. And you have a dice pool that you're going to have, and they're showing 10 dice. Secretly allocate 10 Speed Freaks dice into cunning, speeding, and shooting. Those are the 3 pools. And it says that we have to allocate at least 1 die per living vehicle on the battlefield into the speeding pool, because orcs would never slow down. And the more dice you were to put in the speeding pool would allow you to allocate those to your vehicles to help them move faster, potentially. But that would, of course, take away from their ability to shoot and their ability to have the initiative or get the jump on somebody, and that's what cunning is. So the cunning phase is when you have the chance at being able to activate your first vehicle before your opponent based on how many dice you've allocated into that pool. So it's a little bit of a gamble, and that's where it comes out a little bit in reminiscence to me of the X-Wing game mechanic, although those vehicles on X-Wing do have a set fighter skill, pilot skill, things like that. But the ability to allocate the dice and then doing it blindly behind this like game master type of screen that's there to hide that from your opponent before the start of the phase, so you're kind of blindly allocating. Makes you wonder if people are going to be doing like their sleight of hand poker maneuvers to make it look like they're allocating more dice to one side of their board or the other to trick their opponents out. So that's a little bit different because 40K doesn't play like that. But I don't know firsthand if this is something I'm going to pick up here in October, unless I was looking to start an Ork army, but I inadvertently started an Eldar army this month. And the reason being is that we had Patrick Yang, who won the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and congrats to Patrick on winning that. But when I went to go ship that out to him, the cost of shipping was so high, sending it to South Korea, that it was actually cheaper for me to repurchase the Start Collecting Craft Worlds box and send that to him over the internet instead of from my local game store. So I ended up picking up that for myself, as well as the Wake the Dead starter box. So I've got another 40K Eldar army on the way. I was thinking about going back and doing those as Iandan, since there are so many of the Wraith models in there. But what are your thoughts on Eldar? What should I paint them up as? I really like the red and white paint scheme as pictured on the box, so that certainly seems to be an easy go-to. But then again, my Imperial Knights that I painted are red, and I don't want to do too many repetitive armies. So yellow and blue would certainly be a quite different paint scheme than what I've been going with there. So back into the stats. Each of your vehicles is going to have a card of some sort that's going to tell you the rules and abilities. Here are the basic stats of what you get. Vehicles have armor, hits, melee, and driving skills, as well as their weapons. So I don't see any pistols or anything like that on here, but it does look like they have the abilities for the... So it shows the Daka gun is having 12-inch range, and it looks like a lot of things in this game have a really short shooting distance, either 6 inches or 12 inches seems to be the basic. And then once you get into maneuvering, you've got a maneuvering dial called a gubbins. And these are like different little sticks that you're going to be able to lay down per speed dice that you put that are going to allow you to make maneuvers and get distances on the movement of your vehicles. So it looks like you're going to be placing obstacles and trash heaps and things like that on the battlefield, and you're going to have to spend some of your maneuverability to drive around those, or else you'll risk wrecking into them and potentially damaging your vehicle. Which would be fun and an orcish thing to do, because of course orcs are not always afraid of ramming their opponents when push comes to shove, and going full speed into a battering ram into your opponent's vehicle could be a lot of fun. But would like to see what your guys' thoughts are on this game, on whether you think that the game has survivability beyond the fact that people will just be looking to pick it up for either the collector's sake or for the fact that they want to start a freshly kind of produced 40K Ork army. I'm pretty sure that existing Ork players will be looking to pick some of these vehicles up, although it may make some of their older war buggies and war tracks look a bit outdated, although I've always kind of liked those really old vehicles too. I picked up a ton of those when I got into Gorka Morka in the 90s. But drop your comments below. We'll keep this video short, and looking forward to some of the more releases that will be coming out here this month in Orktober and into November, as it looks like Orktober is really spilling into November.